Aerodynamically, a bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly. By all physics, those little wings should not be able to lift that body up off the ground. But ultimately, the bee just didn't listen, and the bee just flapped its wings and it flies.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Middle-Aged Millennial MILF Podcast, MAMM Podcast. I'm really excited about my guest today, Tony Tripoli. I saw him at Tempe Improv and he blew me away.
It's so nice of you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and chat.
Yes, and all the things we have in common, a little tea, a little fun stuff, some Scottsdale. I worked in Scottsdale. You talked about Scottsdale, so I know we'll have some good stuff there. But I wanted to, they said you toured with Joan Rivers. Like, how fucking cool is that?
It was pretty amazing. Yeah, I worked with Joan Rivers the last 5 years of her life. I was her head writer. I was the co-executive producer of the show Fashion Police on the E! Channel. I produced her reality show, which was on the WE network, and was a cast member on that show as well, and wrote her tweets and joked for the acts. I produced one of her comedy specials, and then I was her opening act on the road. So really for 5 years, my sort of whole world was just sort of Joan Rivers. I was constantly writing jokes about my sagging boobs and dry vagina and
it worked.
plastic surgery, which I had never really written about my sagging boobs before. It was fun to, write in that voice, but it was an amazing fit from the first second that we met. It turns out, she didn't know this, but Joan was the first comedian I had ever seen my whole life. When I was 16 years old, I bought one ticket to go see her at Symphony Hall, downtown Phoenix. And I sat in the balcony, and my family owned a flower shop when I was growing up here. And so before the show, I went to the flower shop and made a big tacky presentation bouquet, knowing that then they would let me go up to the stage, and in my mind, I'm going to give her these flowers. She's going to say, hey, kid, come backstage after the show and we're going to become best friends. Like, this woman is going to be friends with a 16-year-old. But, that was my mind. And so I went up during the act and gave her the flowers. And she was like, oh, thanks, kid. And then security goes like pulling me back up to the balcony. And I didn't get anything. And then cut to literally 30 years later, we're sitting on the couch going on our first end of the year hiatus after the first season of Fashion Police. And we're sitting there on the couch in her dressing room, and she would always rub the top of my hand. And she was like, I love you so much. Have a great, holiday with your family. And I just got all, verklempt and was like, oh my God, I'm remembering being 16 and going to see you and just wanting you to give me a plant or acknowledge me in some way. And I wish I could go back to my 16-year-old self and say, just wait, in 30 years, she's going to be saying, I love you, and, buying your house. Like, she changed my entire life in the moment that we met. She knew instantly that I was meant to be her head writer. And I called my parents leaving Melissa's house that day and said, I think my whole life just changed today. I think everything's really going to change. And it did.
Oh, that is so cool. And the fact that you know that moment, that's, and I'm a firm believer, you still have that 16-year-old in you. So he did get that moment because you got that moment for him.
You're right. I think that's one of the great lessons in life, is that everything that's behind us is always still with us. We're all dragging all that baggage around with us. And we always have opportunities to sort of heal some of that pain that we're carrying and release some of that anger at people that we can never really forgive or whatever. But then we also have these opportunities to really honor and celebrate our inner child, our past, because I think so many of us grow up with this shame about the nerdy kid we were or the whatever kid we were. And it's great as adults to be able to have these moments and go, that's for that little fad. That's for that little gay boy that everybody was so mean to. Now I'm fucking traveling the world with Joan Rivers. Fuck off.
That's it. You won. Hashtag winning.
Yeah, the kid won. Yeah.
So that's so beautiful. I love that. That's how I feel. So it's always that's a very evolved way of thinking, because so many people are just like, oh, I had the shitty, and they drag it around like an albatross, but you're wheeling it around like fancy Louis Vuitton baggage.
Because we're always going to have it. We're all going to have baggage. And that's, I have so many single female friends that are really dating right now, and it's so hard. And I'm like, dating is not about finding somebody, that you're head over heels for. Really, the relationships work when your damages match. You know what I mean? When your damages are compatible, and the things that I hate about you work in function with the things you hate about me. All the stuff we like about each other is what makes it easy. What makes it hard is the stuff we don't like about each other. But if you can find ways to forgive one another or accept, then, your relationship has a chance.
You should just be a relationship guru. That was wonderful advice.
I mean, I think it sounds so negative on its face, but I think if we just have a little more of a pragmatic approach about, it's easy to make friends. It's easy to find things that we like about people and the world. What's hard is finding people we still like when we know the other stuff about them.
Oh, totally. And my husband and I's song is actually that Issues by Julia Michael. So it's the same vein where it's, I'll take your shit, you take my shit, and we'll try to help sort it out.
Right. The rest of it's easy. The rest of it is falling off a log. It's gravity. But the part that does take conscious effort is, the forgiveness and the allowance and the acceptance and I'm going to pretend I didn't see that because otherwise I'm going to stab you with a steak knife. So, sometimes willful ignorance is also great for a relationship.
Well, that's it. It's like people that complain about the toilet seat up. Like, just put the fucking thing down. Like, seriously, is it worth having this conversation about? Like, people forget things. You've never been caught in the moment and forgot things. Like, come on, don't be an asshole.
True. It's true. If that's the biggest problem, you really found your soulmate.
Right? Exactly. If we didn't put the trash bag in the trash can after you took it out or unload the dishwasher, this stupid shit. And then you're talking about it and you're like, what the fuck? This is not what I thought about when I was a kid, that I'd be having these ridiculous moments.
Totally. Nobody tells you that being an adult is, what you're going to have for dinner is the hardest decision of the day. Just that is like peace in the Middle East. Getting two adults to agree on fucking dinner on a Wednesday is like, boy, oh boy, we need to call in the Peace Corps.
That's where you have to have lists and stuff. Like, these are our go-tos. Because that's my husband. He's the type, I love him. But it's so important. And he always wants to try new things. And then he's like, oh, I hated it. And I'm like, I could go to the same place, order the same thing. It's going to come out the way I like it. Like, don't make me fucking choose a restaurant because it's going to wreck your whole night.
That's interesting. I think that is definitely a personality. I think that speaks again to a childhood trauma. I think that speaks to a baggage. There are those of us, I'm the same way. I'll order the same thing every time I go to a restaurant once I know I like it. I'm so in search of consistency and stability in my world that literally there have been times in my life where I would drive through McDonald's, not even because I was hungry, but because I know exactly what McDonald's fries are going to taste like. Always, all the time. They always are like that. And it's just like, I want one fucking thing to go right today. And I know what that drive-through experience is. And so, yeah, I think that there are other people that are always like, let's explore and that's new. And that's great. But you had a different childhood than I did.
That's it. You hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. I was no contact with my parents, have been for 3 years.
Right. So then when you have that kind of history, it's just like anything that can be foundational and can really be bedrock, that's super appealing.
Well, and it's like you said, it's kind of that consistency and just, I don't have to think about this. And there's really something to that. That's why dating and stuff, I don't get it. Like, there is something to just being with the same person, knowing what they like. They know what you like. They know all the stories. Like, I couldn't date.
No, there is such a beauty in being boring to someone because they just know you so well. That is equals in my mind. That is safety and security. And that is that consistency that you're never going to leave. I think those are the things that we as children are craving. And if I'm a child of divorce, you have obviously your story with your parents, which is, pretty specific. And so then we grow up and we're looking for adults that we feel like are not going to leave us. Right. And so the idea of just, we stayed in all weekend and we laid in bed and watched Netflix and it was really boring. I say that with such a smile because, God, there was no drama. There was no moment where I was frightened or the rug was pulled out from under me the whole weekend. That's adult peacefulness to me.
Oh, even as a kid, think about it. If you just sat at home all weekend in bed watching cartoons, like amazing.
And again, I think that's part of the fast food and a bag of nacho cheese Doritos has tasted the same since you were a kid. And I do think there's something deeply psychological in the connection that we have with like our snack foods and the idea of bundling up on the sofa with a blanket and a bag of some kind of chips or whatever your snack is. And you can go back to 7-year-old you and relive exactly what it was like to watch Saved by the Bell, having that same snack, right? That is adult joy when you can recreate those moments for yourself. I think that's really beautiful.
We were flying business class to the Maldives. And I didn't just say that to flex. There's a reason I said it.
Say it out.
But it was like being a kid again, because I'm like, I'm on this for 15 hours. I have my own little pod. I can watch like TV and not feel guilty that I should be cleaning my house. There's a woman that keeps bringing me food. Like they turned down my bed. Like it was being a kid in the best way.
That's incredible. And then was the return flight better because you knew exactly what it was going to be? Or was the way there better because it was such an unknown?
It was the way there was better, but the way back sucked because I just had a shitty flight attendant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like she wasn't checking on us. And it was funny because I thought I was just being a bitch because that's what I do. I was like, she hasn't done this and that. But I heard the guy behind me. He's like, you never brought my dinner. And she's like, you're supposed to ask. He goes, I've been flying this airline for 15 years. I have never once had to ask for my dinner.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That doesn't feel like a luxurious experience there.
No, it was. And then like we had the worst lift. Do you have this problem with Lyft? Like they will go so slow. It's always a man. Like if they go under the speed limit, like you're in Arizona, people are flying by you. They're flipping you off. I'm like, this is agony.
I'm a terrible passenger when my boyfriend drives. I'm a horrible passenger. When it's like a Lyft or an Uber and I'm in the back seat, I really, it's like I'm being chauffeured and I'm not going to pay attention. I'm going to let you handle it. Unless there are honkings and sounds and things, or we're like hitting the brakes and a lot of that. But I really try to just go, I'm going to enjoy, I'm a person who is pretty much the driver in most of my life. I guess I'm kind of a control freak. So that's a moment where I go, I don't fly the plane. And this is kind of the same idea. We're going to the airport. You get us to the airport and then I'm pretty early all the time. So I guess, I let you do you on that thing.
I'm going to have to use you as inspiration. I'm very high strung and I'm just like, and then I just resort to like sighing really loudly and like looking around and hoping they'll pick up on it. But so boyfriend.
Yeah, I've been with my boyfriend it'll be 6 years. Wednesday, this week actually is our 6-year anniversary. And I mean, it's really great. Again, I'm from Phoenix. I moved to Los Angeles when I graduated high school and was in LA for 30 years. And my family was still here in Phoenix. So I was still always coming back once a month to visit family. But, I was living in LA and pursuing a career in, television in different areas. And so there really was no great dating. I mean, I dated a lot of people, but they were never really like serious adult functional relationships built on, equality and trust and love and respect and those kinds of things. And I realized after Joan died, that we did Fashion Police for another 2 years with some other hosts. And it was, constantly getting less and less good, as the time went by. And part of that was Joan was such the magic element, but also just the whole universe of comedy was changing. And it really, Fashion Police, for all about it that I love, it is undeniable that it was sort of bullying. It was making fun of people for the way they looked. It was rather body shaming or ageist or, maybe a little misogynistic to some people. And I really respect all those viewpoints. I totally get it. And that kind of comedy was becoming less and less popular, as the world was getting a little more sensitive and people get mad and call that woke. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's better that comedians have to make better choices than just making fun of a woman for having old saggy tits. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're no prize, old men. Right. But, so I think it's a good thing. I think it's growth, but I just was like the show's going to go away soon. I don't have the life that I really thought that I wanted. Here I am. I'm living in Los Angeles, own a home, have a television show. I guess on paper, I'm very successful. And it just didn't really feel that way. And so it was pretty easy for me to go, I could move back to Phoenix and have enough money to not really have to do anything for a couple of years and kind of figure out what I wanted to do and really be with my little nieces. And my father lived here and I got to have 2 years really with my dad. And then he suddenly passed away. So it was so great that I had those 2 years to just be pals, with my dad. And so it really was a great time to be with, all of my family. My mother and her husband were here at the time. So, and then, a month after my father passes away, I have a straight acquaintance who had gone to get a haircut and said there was this guy working at the salon who ran the front desk that was a gay guy and he wanted to fix me up. Now, I barely knew this straight guy. And I was like, look, just because you've met two of us.
That's it. We're not meant to be together.
Belong together. This is a terrible idea. It's kind of offensive. And I said, I'm going to go meet this idiot just to show you how stupid an idea this is, that you've met two homos ever in your life. And now you want to do a fix up. And then Wednesday, it'll be 6 years. So you just never know. He walked into the restaurant for us to have a cocktail and hit by a train. I knew instantly. So did he. It was from that moment, we never went on another date with anyone else. We were, I love you in a month. It just all happened very fast.
But that's great. I mean, 6 years is tried and true.
Totally.
So, and that's,
yeah.
I think sometimes you just know, people will judge time and stuff. Who's to say when maybe you've both been through enough life experience to be this is the one.
Yeah. Listen, I was 49 when we met, but he's 19 years younger than I am.
For a second, I thought you were going to say he's 19. I was like, yeah, that got weird. That got weird.
But our next guest, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so he, so we have a really large age difference. So right from the start, I think we both thought, well, there's no way this can actually sort of line up. And then it just kind of kept working. Everything always kind of sort of just kept working. And so, but I mean, when I say to people, my boyfriend is 19 years younger, I have to say, but he's 37. He's not
a baby.
He is an adult man. I'm just very old, I'm just, much older than, in fact, his mother is going to be here to stay with us this weekend. And, she's 3 years older than me. So we get along great.
Oh yeah. She's your buddy.
Oh my God. We really are pals. It's so funny. We can talk about Duran Duran. My boyfriend is the one that's left out, so it's good.
That's awesome though. And I mean, you look fabulous. So I'm sure you don't even look that much older than him.
Listen, it's a good thing. And I'm happy. He's happy. We've got our little house, little dog, neighbors, it's a very nice, we both work 9 to 5 jobs. And then I, do the comedy stuff on the weekend as an outlet, which is really fun. And it's been a really great, opportunity here because, sometimes people say, well, God, living in LA and being kind of involved in network television and stuff, making a show for cable and stuff, Phoenix must be so quiet and boring, for you. And I'm like, well, I moved here for quiet and boring. Cause again, that's that stability and consistency that I was looking for. But also, the biggest comedians in America, when they come to town, they ask for me. And so I get to open for all of these huge comedy stars. And so in a way, I still feel very, very connected to that, but in a way that is so much healthier for my life because I get to have all the other things that I was never going to have if I had stayed in LA. So I'm really, happy with that choice.
So what is your 9 to 5, if you don't mind my asking?
Yeah, I work in corporate training. So if you think about it, a great corporate trainer has the same skills that a comedian is going to have because they're reading the room, they're tailoring their message to every audience, they're sort of meeting you where you are and bringing the message to you, right? And so it's just like doing a stand-up comedy routine with really lame jokes, in corporate America. But I enjoy it. I love, working with people and showing them how to do their jobs better, faster, get more commissions, go home safer, whatever it is that we're training on. And they really appreciate having a trainer that isn't boring and, is maybe making it more of a fun, lively experience. So that was sort of my job all through when I lived in LA. That was like my regular person job when I wasn't doing show business stuff, so that I could always like pay my rent. And so it was really easy to move here to Phoenix and make that my real main job. And then most of my students that I'm training in these very conservative financial institutions, most of these people have no idea that I go and talk about women getting their pussies lasered in Scottsdale, on the weekends.
They would be so taken aback. Well, that is so cool. So do you watch the show Hacks?
I do. I lived the show Hacks.
That's what I was going to say. You talking, I was like, that sounds so like that has to hit you in a place.
It was absolutely, they've made no secret about starting with Joan as like the original reference point. And Joan had gone bankrupt 4 times in her life. She had lost everything. And she, would go back to Vegas to sort of rebuild her career between Vegas and QVC. That was what kept her afloat a number of times when she really couldn't get much other work. And so she always had a writer that she worked with very, very closely. She and I never had that contentious relationship, but obviously when you are working in such an intimate capacity with someone, there is tension, there are arguments and fights. It was very rarely between us. It was usually she and Melissa, her daughter, would have a big blowout. And then now I have to come in and try to be funny with this very, very angry, woman who understand why she's angry, but nonetheless, we've got a show tomorrow. Like we've got to come up with jokes. And so there was some of that, in a way, it's like being a nursery school teacher and wrangling cats and getting a very busy, very creative person to focus on one task at hand. And, but we really developed a really beautiful, very loving rhythm over time. And, we said, I love you when we said goodbye. I have her ashes here in my house.
All of them?
No, I have 1/9.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, you really were important.
Yeah. But I mean, it's an incredibly intimate thing to write with a comedian. I think especially a female comedian, because I just think female comics are more open. They're more warts and all. They really are bearing their soul and their pain. And that's what we were then trying to make funny, because Joan used to always say, if it wasn't funny, then it would just be true. And so if we can find a way to make the things that are terrible, if we can make fun of them, we've taken away a little of their power over us. And so we can't not have gone through that trauma, but what we can do is find ways to laugh right at that trauma and at that trauma's memory. And that's how we prevail. That's how we win. Ultimately, that was, so everything that was sensitive were exactly the places that we were going writing jokes about.
That's just great life advice, like just
totally
like how we met when I was like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? My dad just died and they cut off his legs. Like, I was like, right. I'm going to get so many podcast interviews from my dead legless dad. Like,
well, listen, I mean, it's a great intro. I will say that. We'll remember it. But also, yeah, that's what life is random people meet. And when someone says, hey, I have this thing, would you be interested? Just say yes, because you never know where you're going to find the next person that is a big chapter in your life, or it's good to just say yes to everything.
You should be a life coach is what you should do. You would be an amazing life coach.
Listen, it's hard to walk the walk, but it's always the benefits. I mean, one of the things that, again, going back to Joan, she, QVC was a big part of her life. She really designed all of that jewelry. She was very, very hands-on with her company. And every month she designed a different bumblebee pin, like a brooch. So I think her QVC brand has been in existence for like 35 years. So whatever 12 months times 35 years is, that's how many hundreds of these different colored designed bumblebee pins there are. And the reason that she really loved the bumblebee as a symbol was because she said that biologically, aerodynamically, a bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly. Their rear end of their body, that abdomen thing is too large. Their wings are too small. So by all physics, those little wings should not be able to lift that body up off the ground. And she says, but ultimately, the bee just didn't listen and the bee just flapped its wings and it fucking flies. And that's the only way to survive in this life is you can't listen to all the no's and the what ifs and maybe nots. Just fucking flap your wings. Like you just never know. Just so that to me is a part of that say yes to everything because you just don't know. And isn't it better to be a person, a bee that can fly than a bee that's just walking around, right?
Well, exactly. And life is short, So
It's so short unless you're miserable and then it's endless.
that's it. So just say
No,
yes.
do you know what I mean? Like the reason life is short is because you're living life. So it should feel short. You should be on your deathbed and your last thought should be, oh my God, could I please have 10 more years? And, there's a lot of people that when their time comes, they're like, I'm walking into the light. I'm ready. And, maybe it's because they're like, I said everything I need to say to everybody. Everyone knows I love them. Maybe it's that. But I also just think that sometimes, we value youth so much in our culture. We throw away our old people. And so I think this resurgence of shows like Hacks and, seeing some of these older celebrities that are thriving in their careers right now, that's really, really exciting because I do think that there's something about someone that has a little more experience and life behind them. Those people are interesting. Old people are not boring and they don't need to just go knit and, have macaroni and cheese. I did a show a couple weeks ago and the cast was very, very senior or the audience rather before the show. And the other comics were like, oh, we're fucked. It's all white hairs. And I was like, let's remember they did all the fucking in the 60s. They did all the drugs when they were pure. They did all the protesting when it was Vietnam and you could get shot at for protesting. So anything we're living now today, these old white-haired people, they did it the first time. And so they're pretty fucking cool. And I find that old audiences will laugh at anything, even if they disagree with you. I mean, we live in a very Republican state and I'm very much not. And I can still go out there and have a great time with these old people that voted, staunchly Republican against their own best interests. As long as you come at them with a joke that actually is funny at the end, they're still going to laugh and go on the ride with you.
That's so, and you picked the perfect state, Arizona. I mean, old people central.
Yeah, we have a lot of old people.
You could be.
I am here to sign up.
You'll kill in Sun City. Just go. Oh, I shouldn't say kill in Sun City. That doesn't sound.
What's greatest? I do a show there every October in Sun City. There is a little neighborhood that is like queer Sun City retirees, and they're all literally in their 80s and 90s, and they are the rowdiest, wildest, raunchiest audience I have all year. I go out to their little community center and it's just fluorescent tube lighting like a grade school cafeteria and just a mic, and we'll just do 2 hours of filth. They are the best.
I love that. Now I want to go. Get me the invite for that.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Yeah.
Because I love my grandpa. My grandparents moved out here from Chicago to Sun City. And then we followed because my mom just followed her parents everywhere. So, I mean, it was a good thing.
So you grew up in Chicago?
Well, in Sandwich, Illinois. So super, super small town.
Because my boyfriend grew up outside of Chicago as well. So his mother lives in Indiana, but it's still an hour and a half from the city. So I'm learning all about that sort of Midwest Chicago upbringing, and it's great.
Have you gone and visited with him?
Just, only in Chicago.
Yeah.
So we've done Chicago trips. But, I haven't actually seen the suburbs, and, he's a very fancy little man. And so he doesn't, he doesn't love all the old sentimental stuff. He likes the fancy hotels in Chicago. And oh my God, there's that Ralph Lauren store that has the restaurant in it it's the greatest brunch ever. It is worth going to Chicago just to have brunch at the Ralph Lauren store. Holy shit.
I can't believe you brought that up because for my birthday, I had lunch with Miss Cheryl Bodine. She's a romance writer. She had a regular table. They were like, oh, Miss Bodine, like we were right up front. It was like, you're so right. It was like living the dream. I've never felt so fucking fancy in my life.
What a room. Yeah, it is such a great room. It's the perfect size. It's just all the best bullshit. Like it is, you are living the fantasy for sure.
And I was
so great.
I was like, oh, this is the best birthday present, Miss Cheryl Bodine. Like,
you're fancy. I'm getting from you that you're a fancy person too.
Oh,
and it's fun. It's fun to do like a fancy thing. Like Red Lobster is still my favorite restaurant. Like I always joke, I don't need my seafood to ever have lived in the ocean. You know what I mean? But, like I have a coupon. They have biscuits. Let's make it work. But still, yeah, it is fun to do, an Ocean 44, or a Mastro's or one of the, we have so many amazing, great, fancy restaurants here in Arizona. We're very, very lucky.
Have you been to the Global Ambassador?
Yeah, that's right here in our neighborhood.
Oh,
so that
are you in Arcadia?
Yeah. I'm very close to Tatum and Shea, so the Paradise Valley. And so that's just straight down Tatum. And yeah, it's lovely. Although the thing about the Global Ambassador is all the prostitutes. But when they first opened, before all the hookers had set up shop, and listen, girls, I get it. You're working. God bless you. But, they're providing a service. But when that first month was really like perfection. And then once the hookers figured out who the clientele was, then the lobby became much more of a different scene. Now I feel like we're going to the Bunny Ranch once you pass the valet. It's like, which one are we going to pick?
Oh my God. I want to go back now. The store that I worked at, Alexander Collections, is right across the street from
beautiful
Global Ambassador. So we would go, but I don't think the hookers were there yet.
Yeah. They definitely, listen, I get it. They can't spend all their time at Tocomandero. I get it. They have to. You've got to widen your scope.
I'd love to see the hookers at Wally's across the street too, like that little pub.
Sure. Listen, there's fun to be had at every price point.
Well, it was so funny the last time that the Super Bowl was here, and I think Waste Management was here at the same time. I went to the bank there, and she goes, "Oh, I'm out of ones." And I had worked retail for 20 years, so I go, "Oh man, everybody's getting change." She goes, "Honey, the strippers." And I felt like such a bumpkin. I was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
The hookers. I grew up in Sandwich, Illinois.
Found. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
It's like, oh, okay. Like I went back and I was like a little bumpkin. I'm like, y'all here?
It's a fascinating world. We were talking about loving Scottsdale, but also making fun of it. I mean, it's a very particular, coming from LA, the Scottsdale aesthetic is so specific, and it's a very narrow version of beauty. Although what I think is fascinating, the Scottsdale aesthetic is very similar to the sort of Orange County, California aesthetic, where you can be 80 as long as your tits are only 12. Do you know what I mean? Like it's still like you're still expected to have rock hard fakies, even if you are an old leathery raisin. Like we don't let these women off the hook at any age. It's like, well, you're 92, but you can still get your lips done. Like it blows my mind.
I had the old ones there, and it was so funny. Yolanda Hadid came in the store one time.
Wow. Okay.
And I didn't watch those shows. The girl I was working with did, and she was she's like, "Sarah, come here." I thought like she was being murdered, and she's like, "That's Yolanda Hadid." So we just went and shot the shit. But she had the flattest old lady ass I've ever seen. I was like, these yoga pants. I was like, really?
Yolanda is a one that hasn't done a whole lot of crazy stuff, so she still looks like a person. And by the way, if you ever want to see fancy, go to the Architectural Digest tour of her home in Texas. She has this sort of Ralph Lauren high-end ranch modern that she built, this super modern like farmhouse. It is one of the fanciest homes I've ever seen in my life. It is so cool to see. So that's a fun, fancy thing to look up online.
I'll have to, because I just looked at her flat old lady ass and was just like, I don't get it.
It's flat because she's riding those horses. She's out there on those saddles.
That's it.
It's just been worn down to a little
I
nub
was
now.
like, oh, honey, it's so sad. I really always hoped more famous people would come in there. Like that was my hope when I worked there. Like, but didn't. I did have a bachelorette shit on my floor in Old Town.
Wow. See, that we need to. I'm really troubled by the way everyone has a story about shitting their pants. I think we need to go back to being ashamed of that. I think maybe we need to not be so forthcoming with our, oh, there's the time that I shit in the middle of a boutique. Like, don't ever do that. Don't shit in a boutique and don't tell people if you did. I guess we all do secretly have these sort of stories, but I don't know. We let's not normalize taking a cramp in the middle of the showroom floor.
No, and it was in that moment that I really was like, what am I doing with my life? Like that, I quit shortly after. I'm like, I'm cleaning up a Canadian shit off my floor because she's so drunk. And she kept telling us she worked for Samsung. So I'm just waiting for my fridge to crap out. And I'll be like, you shit on my floor. I think I'd get a fridge, right? Like,
that's horrible. I'm sorry. And she sounds like a dreadful person. I don't understand why people get that kind of drunk that they can't keep their poop
in the middle of the day too. Mind. Like I have never had that happen. I don't know. I was never a big drinker. I don't drink at all now.
If I drink too much and I fall asleep. So I'm not gonna go shit in the Costco. No. Like that just feels like I like the Costco. I might go back there.
That's it.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he shit on the floor.
The shitter. There's the shitter guy. Yeah. So, I have this hair. Everybody remembers this hair. So I have to be careful. I can't go shitting places.
No, they'll see that hair coming.
I'll walk in and they'll be like, we remember you.
I will never forget this woman. So you are totally right. Like, but it's fun. Scottsdale's kind of, you go and play pretend, it feels like.
Oh, totally. I love, Scottsdale Fashion Square is always going to be my favorite. Although I'm so sad that the Pinkberry is gone because, again, moving here from LA, I was so obsessed with Pinkberry, and the only location in Arizona was that little kiosk in Scottsdale Fashion Plaza, and that went away like a year ago. And so I'm just livid because, I can't get my Pinkberry.
You should take it up with the mall and be like, hey,
I want the Pinkberry back. Or contact the company and see if I can get a franchise. Here I am saying say yes to everything. Yeah, say yes to Pinkberry, Tony.
There you go. Do it.
Open one at the Global Ambassador. Have a little Pinkberry kiosk out there.
Well, hey, give a discount to the hookers.
Or need something quick.
That's it. 10% off.
A light snack for the prostitutes. It's a win-win.
And you could take a picture of the Johns and then like blackmail them. This could be really big for you.
You're like, this is the next wave, man. This is the next, this is buying my beach house.
That's why we had to have this. That's why we met. So we could come up with this great idea and you get your beach house.
So so here's I know I'm not supposed to be interviewing you.
Please ask questions.
But if you've already done the Maldives, where's the place that you're dying to go that you still need to go and visit?
We're going to Turkey and Greece this Sunday. So that's fun.
Okay.
We want to go.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. We want to go to Italy because this country sucks ass and it's a cesspool, and we can get digital nomad visas and get the fuck out.
Yeah, of course. That's remarkable. Obviously, Italy, a classic, can't go wrong. Amazing, great food. I just had Olive Garden last night, so I'm feeling Italian, and I did the tour of Italy. Oddly, so I feel like I basically am part of the Chamber of Commerce.
You are. You're such a Renaissance man.
We're family. It's so embarrassing to be two hip-looking gay guys at an Olive Garden at 5:30 on Father's Day Sunday. That is really the server came over and she was like, "Hey guys, happy Father's Day." Like she literally was. I was like, "Well, he calls me daddy. Yeah. I guess that maybe counts." Like I don't even know. Just start the breadsticks.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a good meal though. I'm not gonna lie.
Now I want Olive Garden. You keep bringing up Red Lobster, Olive Garden.
So good. Yes. Any chain restaurant, Outback Steakhouse. Like I love all of those basic Chili's, Americana, kind of white trashy food. I love all that stuff. but then, then we'll also, I guess, go and do a fancy thing too. So there's room for all. We don't cook, so it's like we're going out every
I
night.
don't get people that fucking cook. Like I watch The Bear and that looks like a nightmare. Like
Right, exactly. Yes,
I don't care about food enough to want to do all
right,
that.
absolutely. So you're doing Italy and Greece, Turkey. Yeah, that's good. We just stayed in a place that is remarkable. Last week was my boyfriend's birthday, and in Puerto Vallarta there is a place called Villa Lala, and everybody should Instagram Villa Lala PV. And it's this little hotel out in the jungle, so it's like an hour from the airport, and you're in this jungle that's carved out right on the ocean, and then there's two buildings, one's 5 stories, one's four, and each room is one whole floor. And it's all open. One side is all glass panels that you roll away. And you've just got your bed and a little kitchen. And then you've got your own swimming pool that hangs over your balcony. And then like the showers and the jacuzzi tub and all this stuff. So basically, you just go into your room and don't wear clothes for 48 hours. And they just bring food up to you whenever you order and stuff. But you kind of don't really see a lot of other people. And you're just kind of in nature. It feels like you're in this big like tree house. Oh my God, so gorgeous. Incredible place. Really great service. Really nice.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Recommend very highly. Yeah.
Yes, because in the Maldives, we had one of those over the water villas and we had our own pool and stuff. And it was a little teeny island. So you didn't see that many people. So.
And how many days did you stay?
6.
So you were 6 in that little overwater bungalow.
Yeah.
And you didn't get like bored. You weren't like, okay, well, there's kind of nothing to do.
No, because we could go to the other little what's it called? Island, and they had like a Hard Rock Cafe. We were really excited, and everybody we knew was really excited. They're like, "Ooh, if we get us stuff,
you can take a boat to other things."
Yeah, and we went snorkeling, and it actually rained one day, and we just stayed in and ordered room service and watched the last season of You, and it was amazing.
See, I love that. I love one day of rain on a trip like that because it makes you just stay in and cuddle. And, it's fun. You kind of burrow a little and eat some food. And yeah, that's great.
And we had on our little pajamas from Qatar Air that we
Yeah. Fantastic. That's nice. That's good.
We felt
That's
so
good.
fancy. But then I'm like you, where I'm like, but I could do McDonald's. I can go to a dive bar and deal with those people. Like, I feel like I can do the gamut.
Will you do a cruise? Do you like a cruise?
I've gone on one cruise. It was Carnival, and it was my parents, and it was hell.
Okay.
So I'm going to say no.
Yeah, Carnival is really a monstrosity. Virgin Voyages is amazing because there's no kids allowed on board. So already it's just, and it's like a W at sea. Like it's supposed to be like a cool, it's not wood paneling and old fashioned. It's very, very modern neon. And then it's very sort of queer coded. Like there's a lot of non-binary team members or a lot of guys who also paint their nails or wear eye makeup or, like you're really not sure what pronouns to be using. Everybody's really just cool, and they have no buffets. Everything you eat, you order, but they have this giant food court at the top of the ship that has every different kind of food. And you just order on an iPad and they bring everything to you. So you can have a panini and pho and scrambled eggs, just, whatever you want. And all the restaurants are so good. You do everything on the app. You just go, we'd like Mexican food. And they go, great, come in 10 minutes. And they have this thing on their app where if you shake your phone, they bring you a bottle of champagne in an ice bucket and 2 glasses, wherever you are on the ship. Just shake for champagne. It's the greatest. And so, yeah. And so you go through a lot of champagne on those cruises, but the shows are really cool, very sort of Cirque du Soleil, moody, fun, sexy stuff. It's not ancient old people. It's like young people doing a vacation away from their kids. So it's super, super fun. Again, really a great vacation.
I'm going to have to recommend that. Our friends have been talking because a lot of them cruise. So we're going to try to get like a friend cruise together because we thought that would be fun. We're like, wow, our midlife crisis are cruises.
And also they, because you've got your like Royal Caribbean ships where you've got 6,000 people and there's a go-kart track and a water park and all this shit on board. But you don't want to be trapped with 6,000 people. Everything is a line, So the Virgin ship is like still 2,500 people. So it's very manageable. You have your balcony with your hammock on it, room service, dynamite. It's a great way to do it.
Where did it go when you went on it?
Well, they go everywhere. I mean, we did one for his birthday 2 summers ago, which was from like Barcelona, and did like Italy, Spain. And so that's amazing, like south of France. And then they do a lot in the Caribbean. You can do like a 3 or 4 day in the Caribbean. But then they do all around the world. They do Australia. They're everywhere.
Oh, an Australia cruise would be really cool.
Yeah. And that's, I want to say, in like December, it's our winter is their summer. So the ships are in Australia during our winter. So it's great to go and do beach, when we're not really in winter in Arizona, but most of the US has snow on the ground. So
God, it was 114 degrees yesterday. Like, what the fuck? Global warming. We're fucked.
Yeah.
We're going to burn alive here.
Just all summer long, we're just in the pool. It's literally me and my boyfriend and the dog in the pool, eating popsicles all day long. That's just all it is during the summer. So yeah, until we find the melanoma, and then it's all over. And I don't know what.
Then fuck it. We're all dying. The world is going to end so soon.
Yep. Just bacon me. That's how we go.
But that's better. Like, I don't know. Water freaks me out. Like the thought of like a tidal wave or a hurricane or tornadoes freaked me out being from the Midwest, like terrified me. So I'll take boiling to death. Like that, I think I can handle.
Exactly. That seems like that seems less likely to happen in your pool. So that's good. Yes,
that's it. We have some things we can do.
Well, listen, I hope that people will find me on Instagram. Super easy, Tony Tripoli because I have shows all the time. Like most weekends, I'm at one of the clubs around town. So we're very lucky in Phoenix that we've got Stand Up Live downtown, Desert Ridge Improv on the sort of north side, and then, Tempe Improv. We also have Stir Crazy over on the west side, JP's in Gilbert, Mic Drop in Chandler. So we've got a lot of great clubs in this town, so that you can always go and find a fun show to see. But I would love for people to, come and see a show. And if you do, please stay after and say, hey, we heard you on this podcast, and so we wanted to come and check out our show, because that it would be fun to meet all of your podcast listeners.
Yes, and maybe I'll get a commission. Like for everyone that comes to see you, I get like $1.
That's pretty much what I get. I don't even know if I get $1 per person, actually. So yes, that's a great goal to work up to.
We've got this business. See, entrepreneur, you and I are just going to be shooting ideas off each other.
I mean, people don't realize there is no money in stand-up. It really is something that you do just because you have that sort of disease and you can't sort of stop doing it. But the good thing about that is, since there is so little money in it, the only people that are going to stick with doing it are people that really have something to say and really have a point of view and an opinion. And hopefully people wouldn't keep getting opportunities if they weren't making the audience laugh every time they go out. So I'm sort of proud of some of the work that I do. Again, we're, in this city, the audiences are really, really diverse. So to go out there and be a gay guy that can make a room full of essentially straight people, fall in love with me, that's a good thing. And I feel like in some small way, I'm making it easier for the other gay people that they're going to come into contact with. Maybe people will be a little nicer because they feel like they've, met one that they liked.
And that's amazing. Look at you, just this ambassador. You need to do the life coach thing, my man.
True. It's true.
I think you'll make so much money. Get that beach house.
And there we go. I guess I want a little over the water bungalow in the Maldives.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, right? Well, thank you so much. You've been so generous with your time. This was genuinely a pleasure.
So much fun.
I would love to get together with you and your boyfriend. We can look at the hookers at Global Ambassador. You let me know.
Yes.
Definitely. But you're here. You're fabulous. I need more gay men in my life. It's a little too straight.
Yes.
Like I miss all my gay guys moved away. So let's keep it local.
Got it. Yes, that's good. That's good. Well, I'm happy to step up. Thank you, Sarah, so much for inviting me. And I hope that you have a great trip to, what is it? Greece and Turkey. Yeah, have a fantastic time.
Yes, and let me know next time you're in Chandler, Gilbert. I will come see you and bring the reinforcements.
Absolutely. I'm going to be at JP's Comedy Club in Gilbert the 27th and 28th of the month.
Ah,
So
perfect.
the last weekend of June, you'll probably still be gone. But for the local Arizona people, come on out.
All right, I'm going to tell all my friends they better get down there.
All righty. Well, very nice speaking with you. Have a
Yes,
wonderful
you
day.
too. Thank you.